The soldier froze. His dog barked at the patch of fresh soil, paws scraping, nose buried deep. The ground smelled wrong. Too recent. Too deliberate. And then, soft. Fragile. A woman's whisper drifted through the night. "That's mine." The night air carried a damp chill, the kind that clung to the skin and filled every breath with the smell of wet grass. The soldier's boots sank slightly into the yard as he moved, his flashlight beam cutting across uneven ground, past the shed, past the fence that leaned like it had given up long ago. The German shepherd froze. One moment he was moving steady at his master's side, the next his paws stopped dead against the grass. His nose dropped low, tail stiff, body locked like a statue. The soldier slowed, frowning. "What is it, boy?" The shepherd didn't move. His chest expanded with a sharp breath, nostrils flaring. Then, without warning, he lunged to the left, dragging the leash taut until the soldier stumbled with him. The dog's claws tore against the dirt, scraping furiously at a mound near the back corner of the yard. The soldier caught himself, boots sliding, flashlight beam jerking until it landed on the ground where the dog now pawed. Fresh soil. The mound was small, uneven, darker than the rest of the grass around it. Dirt clumps still loose, grass ripped away. The soldier's throat tightened. He stepped closer, crouched, and touched the soil with his glove. It was damp. Too damp. It hadn't been here yesterday. The shepherd barked sharply, snapping his jaws as though the ground itself had provoked him. He dug harder, dirt flying into the beam of light, spraying the soldier's boots. "Easy," the soldier muttered, pulling the leash. But the dog resisted, body trembling, growl rolling deep in his chest. The soldier's eyes fixed on the mound. His chest rose and fell in steady bursts. He'd seen soil like this before, disturbed, unsettled, too recently worked. Overseas, it had meant IEDs. Or graves. His jaw clenched. "What's buried here?" The yard gave no answer. He straightened, flashlight steady, scanning the fence line, the shadows near the shed, the silent house behind. Everything was still. Too still. The shepherd whined suddenly, sharp, high-pitched, his nose pressed flat to the soil as if trying to breathe through it. And then, a voice. Soft. Fragile. A woman's whisper carried through the air, so faint it might have been mistaken for the wind. "That's mine." The soldier's chest seized. He jerked his head around, flashlight beams slicing across empty yard. His breath caught in his throat. "Who's there?" His voice cracked against the silence. Nothing answered. The shepherd exploded, barking violently at the soil, body lunging forward, leash straining so hard it nearly tore from the soldier's grip. His growl ripped the night, violent and raw. The soldier's heart hammered. He crouched again, flashlight steady on the mound. The soil looked ordinary, dark, damp, broken by the dog's claws. But the air felt heavier now. Denser. He whispered under his breath, words half to himself, half to the unseen. "What's yours?" The wind brushed through the grass, soft and cold. And again, faint. Closer. "That's mine." The soldier staggered back a step, breath tearing sharp into his lungs. His flashlight shook in his hand. The shepherd barked again, savage, teeth snapping, claws digging until dirt flew higher, faster. His body trembled with urgency. The soldier's mind raced. He'd heard whispers before, in bunkers, in tunnels, in the heat of exhaustion. But not like this. Not in a quiet yard. Not when the soil was still damp beneath his fingers. He pressed his hand harder into the dirt. It gave too easily, collapsing under his palm. Looser than the rest of the yard. Like something had been pushed inside. His whisper cracked. "Who buried this?" The yard stayed silent. But the soil wasn't. It seemed to pulse under his hand, faint, like a heartbeat deep below. The shepherd erupted into a furious howl, his body thrashing, claws tearing so violently he nearly collapsed into the hole himself. His eyes locked on the dirt, ears flat, teeth flashing. The soldier's breath came short, ragged. His instincts screamed to step back, to drag the dog away, to close the gate and never return. But he didn't. His hand reached for the small folding shovel strapped to his pack. The soil waited. And in the quiet, the whisper came again. This time sharper. Closer. That's mine. The soldier's gloved hand tightened around the folding shovel. His breath fogged faintly in the cool night as he snapped the blade into place with a metallic click. The sound rang too loud in the silence, echoing against the fence, the shed, the empty house. The shepherd pressed forward, nose nearly buried in the soil, his body trembling with a violent urgency. His claws scraped against the dirt, sending loose clumps flying. His bark had gone hoarse, breaking into sharp bursts, each one angrier than the last. The soldier crouched, flashlight steady in one hand, shovel in the other. He pushed the blade into the mound. The soil gave too easily. Damp, loose, collapsing under the steel. He heaved it aside, earth spilling in dark cascades across his boots. The shepherd lunged, snapping his teeth at the exposed soil as if it were alive. His growl deepened, vibrating through the night. The soldier's jaw clenched. He dug deeper, faster, each thrust of the blade cutting smoother than the last. He could feel it, this wasn't old. The dirt hadn't had time to settle. And then... a sound. Not metal, not wood. A hollow scrape against the shovel's edge. He froze. Heart pounding. He knelt, brushed soil away with his gloved fingers. Something small. Round. He pulled it free. A locket. Tarnished silver, chain broken. The surface caked with dirt, but faint etchings still visible, a flower, pressed into the metal with delicate lines. The soldier's throat tightened. He turned it over in the beam. Snap. The clasp gave way. Inside, 2 photographs, faded and smeared with soil. One of a young woman. The other of a little boy with wide, unknowing eyes. Before he could breathe, the whisper came. Soft. Close. That's mine. The soldier's head snapped up. Flashlight beam cut across the yard. Empty. Silent. His hand shook. He whispered back without meaning to. Whose? No answer. The shepherd snarled louder, snapping at the air as though he'd heard it too. The soldier dropped the locket into his pocket, forcing his breath steady. He pushed the shovel down again, deeper, harder. Soil spilled, wet against his gloves. Another scrape. He crouched, brushed dirt aside. This time, fabric emerged. A ribbon, frayed and faded, its color lost to the soil. He tugged it free. It uncoiled in his hands, long and delicate, once tied with care. He held it in the beam. It trembled in his shaking fingers. The whisper slid into the air, sharp this time. That's mine. The soldier's breath tore from his chest. His whisper cracked back. Who are you? Silence. Only the shepherd's growl answered, deep and unrelenting. The soldier shoved the ribbon into his pack, hand trembling. He dug again, shovel cutting smoother, the soil collapsing too easily, as though it wanted to reveal. Another object surfaced. A ring. Gold, thin, etched with initials that had nearly worn away. He clenched it in his fist, throat burning. The initials caught under the flashlight, LM. The whisper came again, almost on top of his breath. Mine. The soldier dropped the ring into his pocket, his chest hammering. Sweat stung his eyes though the night was cold. He pushed the shovel deeper, harder, soil flying in bursts. The shepherd barked savagely, his paws tearing at the edges, nose pressed low, body straining. He was no longer helping, he was desperate. The soldier's shovel hit something larger. Wood. Hollow. His breath caught. He scraped at it with his gloves, dirt falling away. Not a box. Too small. A drawer. The soldier froze, staring at the wooden piece pressed into the earth. It looked ripped from furniture, shoved into the ground. Its edges splintered, but the handle intact. He swallowed hard. His hands shook as he pulled. The drawer scraped free with a crack of soil, spilling against his boots. Inside. Objects. Dozens. A small hairbrush, teeth broken. A pocket knife with initials carved into the handle. A folded letter, sealed in wax long melted. A pair of cracked glasses, lenses fogged with dirt. Every piece looked touched, used, once precious. The soldier's vision swam. He crouched over the drawer, hands trembling, flashlight beam unsteady. The whisper came again. Not soft. Not far. Close. Right beside his ear. That's mine. The soldier jerked, flashlight swinging wildly across the yard. Empty. Silent. The shepherd barked so violently his voice broke, claws scraping at the drawer, his body shaking as though ready to tear the objects apart. The soldier whispered, his throat raw. Why here? Why bury this? The ground didn't answer. But the drawer sat open. Waiting. And the whisper came again. Don't take it. The drawer sat crooked in the dirt, its splintered edges bleeding soil, its contents scattered like broken memories. The soldier crouched low, flashlight trembling in his hand as the beam swept across the objects inside. The shepherd hadn't stopped pacing. His growl rolled deep, constant, vibrating through the grass. Every time the beam hit one of the items, the dog snapped his teeth, barked sharp, and pawed furiously, as though warning his master to leave them untouched. But the soldier couldn't. His chest felt heavy, his throat tight, like unseen hands guided him closer. He reached first for the locket. Its hinge had cracked when he opened it before, but now under the stronger light, the details sharpened. The young woman's face was clearer, dark hair tied back, eyes calm, a faint smile pressed on her lips. The boy beside her looked no older than 6, his grin wide, gap between his teeth. The soldier traced the image with a muddy glove, his breath shallow. The whisper came. Not soft. Not far. That's mine. The soldier flinched, the locket nearly slipping from his hand. His head jerked around, flashlight sweeping across the empty yard. Nothing. Only the fence creaked in the night wind. The shepherd erupted, barking so violently it sounded like rage. He snapped at the locket, jaws clashing inches from his master's fist. Back, the soldier shouted, voice cracking. His own hand shook so hard he shoved the locket into his pocket, chest pounding. The whisper didn't fade. Give it back. The soldier clenched his jaw, breath ragged. He reached for the next item. The ribbon. Faded, frayed, it's not broken, but still soft to the touch. He held it up in the beam, strands dangling. For a split second, the air shifted, he could almost see it tied in someone's hair, fluttering as they ran across this same yard. The whisper slid sharp into his ear. Mine. The soldier's teeth grit. He shoved the ribbon into his pack, his movements fast, nervous. The shepherd barked again, tail stiff, his nose jammed against the ground where the ribbon had lain, growling so deep it shook the soil. The soldier reached next for the ring. The initials glimmered faintly under the dirt, LM. He held it in the beam. His lips whispered the letters without thinking. L.M. The whisper cut sharp, louder now. That's mine. The soldier's hand trembled, the ring nearly dropping from his glove. He stuffed it into his other pocket, his breath tearing, eyes stinging. He reached for the glasses. Cracked lenses, thin frame bent. He turned them slowly in the beam. Through the cracked lens, the world fractured, yard split in two, pit blurred, dog's face twisted into something wrong. The whisper pressed harder, colder. "You don't see it right." The soldier's hand jerked. The glasses slipped, hit the ground with a soft crunch. The shepherd barked madly, pawing at them, trying to bury them back in soil. His claws shredded grass, dirt flying into the air. The soldier dragged the glasses free, heart pounding, and shoved them back into the drawer. And then, the letter. Sealed once, now cracked, its wax broken long ago. He lifted it, mud clinging to the paper, and slowly pulled it open. The ink had bled, words warped by soil, but fragments survived. "Keep it safe. They won't find it here. Belongs to her." The soldier's pulse slammed. His eyes traced the words again and again, desperate to piece them whole. The whisper hissed, close, furious. "That's mine." The soldier gasped, chest seizing. He dropped the letter, breath ripping out. His flashlight beam shook wildly across the grass. The shepherd lunged into the drawer, teeth snapping at the paper, shredding it into dirt-streaked strips. His growl rose to a savage pitch, body frantic, as though destroying it was the only way to silence the air. The soldier grabbed his collar, yanking him back. "Stop! Leave it!" His own voice cracked, trembling. The dog resisted, teeth bared, body straining. His eyes glared at the pit, at the drawer, at the objects like they weren't things but threats. The soldier's chest heaved. He crouched lower, grabbing the remaining items one by one, shoving them into his pack, his gloves streaked with mud. His mind screamed to stop, to bury them again, but his hands refused. As the last object slid into his pack, the air changed. The whisper rose, not soft, not faint. Louder. Filling the yard. "You took it." The soldier's head snapped up, his blood cold. His whisper broke. "Who are you?" The air pressed heavier. The shepherd's body froze, his growl cutting into silence, his nose jerking to the soil. The ground itself seemed to shift. The mound sank slightly, dirt collapsing in, as though something underneath pressed upward. The whisper came again, sharp, cutting. "Give it back." The soldier's gloves were torn at the fingertips, his nails caked with mud, but his hands didn't stop. The small relics from the drawer weighed heavy in his pack, yet something deeper inside the soil called to him, pulling harder than instinct, heavier than fear. The shepherd barked until his voice cracked, his body straining against the leash, every muscle desperate to pull his master away. When that failed, he turned violent against the ground, claws tearing, teeth snapping at roots as though he could shred the earth itself. The soldier gritted his teeth, shovel blade sinking deep. The soil gave too easily. Loose, soft, collapsing with each thrust. It wasn't natural, it was prepared. He dug faster. Each pull of earth felt like stripping layers of skin off the yard itself. His breath came ragged, chest heaving, but his arms wouldn't stop. Then, a hollow thud. His shovel struck something solid. He froze. The shepherd did too, ears sharp, body rigid, growl deepening into a low rumble that seemed to vibrate the night. The soldier knelt, brushed dirt aside with trembling hands. A corner emerged. Wood. Thick. Dark. His throat tightened. He scraped faster, soil spilling around his knees. The object grew larger, broad edges, reinforced corners. Not furniture. Not a drawer. A chest. The shepherd lunged, barking furiously, teeth snapping at the wood, his body frantic. His growls twisted into panicked whines, back and forth, desperate to drag his master away. The soldier whispered, his voice raw. "What's buried here?" The soil answered with silence. But the air did not. The whisper came sharp, jagged, not soft anymore. "That's mine." The soldier's blood ran cold. His head whipped around. The beam cut across the yard, empty fence, silent shed, still house. The shepherd snarled louder, his body pressed low, tail stiff, hackles raised like blades. The soldier set the flashlight between his teeth, gripped the chest's edge with both hands, and heaved. The wood groaned, soil clinging, roots snapping. His muscles strained, arms trembling with effort. The chest shifted, rising inches. Soil collapsed around it, spilling across his boots. The whisper lashed again, sharper, closer. "Don't touch it." The soldier stumbled back, breath-tearing. His whisper cracked through clenched teeth. "Then why bury it?" The shepherd barked madly, circling the pit, body tense, tail slashing the air like a warning flag. His paws skidded in the dirt as he lunged against the leash, eyes blazing into the chest. The soldier swallowed hard, gripped the handle again, and pulled. The chest broke free, slamming onto the grass with a heavy thud. The sound echoed through the yard like a gunshot. He stumbled, flashlight beam bouncing wildly before settling on the box. It was large, heavy, iron hinges rusted but intact. The wood stained dark, soil pressed into every seam. A faint symbol scratched into the lid, half faded, like someone tried to erase it. The shepherd howled, sharp and raw, his voice cracking the silence into pieces. He lunged at the chest, teeth gnashing against the iron, claws raking wood. His growl shook like rage and terror tangled together. The soldier knelt closer, chest heaving. His fingers brushed the latch. Cold. Wet. Heavy. The whisper returned, louder, layered, like more than one voice overlapping. "That's mine, mine. Mine." The soldier's hands trembled. He whispered back, broken. "Then tell me who you are." No answer. Only the air thickening. The weight pressing heavier against his shoulders. The shepherd lunged again, teeth clamping onto his master's sleeve, dragging him away from the box with violent jerks. His growl broke into frantic barks, desperate to stop him. The soldier shoved him back, chest burning. "No! Let me see!" His own voice cracked with something between fury and fear. He grabbed the latch, mud caked across his gloves, and yanked. The iron groaned. The lid shifted. The whisper screamed. "Don't!" The soldier froze, chest locked. The shepherd's body stiffened, ears flat, teeth bared. The yard itself seemed to hold its breath. And the chest waited. The soldier's breath shook as he knelt before the chest. The mud-stained wood seemed to pulse under his flashlight beam, every line and crack alive with shadow. His gloves slipped on the iron latch, but his grip tightened, forcing it open with a sharp groan that carried across the yard. The shepherd erupted, barking violently, teeth clashing against the air. His claws raked the dirt as he lunged, snapping at the chest as though trying to stop it from breathing. The latch gave way. The lid cracked. The soldier froze, lungs locked. For a moment, nothing moved, only the creak of rusted hinges and the heavy silence of the yard. Then the lid swung wide. Inside lay objects, layered in dirt, preserved like memories that refused to rot. The soldier's flashlight shook as he scanned them. Photographs. Dozens. Stained, warped, edges curled, but faces still visible. Children smiling, some blurred mid-laughter, some staring straight into the lens. A few photographs were ripped, only half of a face showing. The soldier's throat tightened. His chest heaved with shallow breaths. He picked one up, dirt crumbling from its surface. A girl, maybe 8 years old, stood in front of the same leaning shed at the back of the yard. Her hair tied with a ribbon. The same ribbon now sitting in his pack. Before he could react, the whisper slashed through the air. That's mine. His hand trembled so hard the photo nearly slipped. The shepherd barked with savage urgency, his body colliding with his master's shoulder, forcing him to drop the picture back into the chest. The soldier dragged in a ragged breath and looked deeper. A stack of letters. Envelopes torn, some still sealed, names scrawled across them. His hands shook as he pulled one free, dirt smearing the ink. He squinted under the beam. Keep this safe. Don't let them. The rest was smeared away. His breath caught. The same initials etched on the ring. The whisper cut sharper, louder, almost a hiss. Mine. The soldier staggered back on his knees, the letter crumpling in his fist. The shepherd's growl deepened, his nose buried in the chest, barking savagely at what still lay below the paper and photographs. His paws raked at the wood, desperate to tear deeper. The soldier steadied his light. Beneath the belongings, something else glinted faintly. Metal. He brushed dirt aside, fingers shaking, until he uncovered a bracelet. Thin, silver, engraved with a date nearly rubbed away. He turned it in the beam, October 1972. Before he could even process it, the whisper exploded, jagged, splitting the silence. Mine. Give it back. The soldier dropped the bracelet, heart hammering. His eyes darted across the yard, flashlight jerking with him. Empty. Silent. But not still. The air itself vibrated, heavy with a shriek, as though the whisper had sunk into the soil and was rising all around him. The shepherd lunged into the chest again, teeth tearing at the belongings, snapping at the air like the voices were tangible. His barks cracked into violent howls, ears flat, body shaking with fury. The soldier's chest locked as his beam finally landed on the bottom of the chest. Bones. Small. Fragile. A ribcage half buried in soil. A hand no larger than a doll's. The soldier gagged, bile burning his throat. His lungs fought for air. The whisper shrieked, no longer soft, no longer pleading. Mine. 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 The sound slammed into his head, bouncing off his skull until he clutched it with both hands, flashlight falling to the grass. The beam spun wildly, slicing across the yard, the shed, the fence, before settling on the chest again. The bones gleamed under the light. The shepherd howled, his body half inside the chest, clawing furiously at the dirt, as though trying to uncover what still hid beneath. The soldier's breath tore free, his whisper breaking raw into the night. What do you want from me? The voices answered at once. Not one. Not two. Many. Don't take it, don't touch it, it's ours, it's mine, give it back. The soldier's vision blurred. His head spun. His hands shook violently as he forced the lid down, slamming the chest shut. The whispers hushed. But the silence that followed was worse. The shepherd stood rigid, teeth bared, staring at the chest like it might rise again. His growl didn't fade. The soldier's chest heaved. His whisper cracked into the still air. What have I uncovered? The yard stayed silent. But his gut knew the answer. Something that should never have been touched. The chest shut with a violent slam, the sound echoing through the yard like a gunshot. The soldier pressed both hands down on the lid, shoulders trembling, breath ragged. His lungs burned as if the air itself had turned toxic. Beside him, the shepherd snarled without pause, body stiff, ears flat, his jaws snapping at the corners of the chest. His growl was raw, deep enough to vibrate through the soldier's bones. The soldier forced himself back, boots scraping across the wet grass. His flashlight, knocked sideways in the struggle, now lay tilted against the fence, its beam cutting at an angle across the chest. The iron hinges glistened under the light, mud dripping, the scratched symbol on its lid suddenly sharper than before. The soldier's whisper cracked. We're done here. We're leaving. The shepherd barked furiously, as though agreeing, dragging the leash taut, trying to force his master toward the gate. But the chest answered. It thudded. Once. Heavy. From inside. The soldier froze. His breath stopped. Another thud. Louder. The wood rattled, iron groaning. The shepherd lunged, claws raking dirt, teeth snapping at the lid. His bark turned to a savage howl. The soldier's chest locked. He whispered, broken. No, no, it can't. The lid shifted. Just an inch. Enough for soil to puff out, spilling across the grass like the chest was breathing. The whisper ripped through the night, layered, furious. Mine. Give it back. The soldier stumbled back, boots sliding in mud. His flashlight beam jittered, bouncing off the chest, the shed, the fence. The whole yard seemed to pulse with the voices, every shadow pressing closer. The shepherd leapt onto the chest, claws hammering wood, jaws gnashing at the lid as though he could pin it shut himself. His growls twisted into frantic whines, desperate, terrified. The soldier forced his hands to move. He grabbed the dog's collar, yanked him off, stumbling toward the fence. His whisper tore raw from his throat. We're leaving. Now. The shepherd resisted, body thrashing, eyes fixed on the chest as if leaving it unguarded would mean disaster. The soldier pulled harder, dragging him back inch by inch. His flashlight beam fell again across the chest. It shifted. Not from inside this time. From the ground beneath it. The soil sank, dragging the box down, like invisible hands were pulling it back where it belonged. The soldier froze, breath-tearing. His whisper cracked. It's burying itself. The shepherd barked, high and frantic, jerking against the leash so violently the soldier nearly fell. His claws tore furrows in the dirt, his body refusing to turn away. The chest sank another inch. Soil spilled over its sides, swallowing the carved symbol, the rusted hinges. The lid rattled as if fists inside still hammered to be free. The voices shrieked again. Don't take it. Don't touch it. Mine, mine, mine. The soldier's knees buckled. His palms clamped over his ears, but the voices weren't outside anymore, they were in his skull, bouncing inside his head until his vision blurred. The shepherd lunged at him, grabbing his sleeve, tugging, dragging with desperate force. The soldier's boots slipped, mud splattering his knees. The chest thudded again, one final violent slam from inside. Then the soil surged, covering it whole in seconds, pulling it down until only fresh dirt remained. The soldier gasped, chest heaving, eyes locked on the now smooth mound. It was gone. No chest. No wood. No symbol. Just earth. The shepherd stood rigid, teeth bared at the mound, growl steady, endless. The soldier whispered, broken. It put itself back. The whisper came again. But softer now. Not shriek. Not rage. Close. Intimate. That's mine. The soldier staggered back, clutching the dog's collar, dragging him toward the gate. His flashlight beam jittered wildly across the yard, catching nothing but grass, shed, fence, and the smooth soil that looked untouched. The shepherd barked one last furious burst, ears pinned, tail rigid, before finally letting himself be pulled. The soldier's boots crunched against the gravel path, his chest on fire, throat dry as dust. Behind him, the yard fell silent. Too silent. The soldier's boots crunched over the gravel as he pulled the shepherd through the gate. His chest still heaved, throat raw, breath jagged in the cool night air. Behind him, the yard lay silent, too silent, like it had swallowed its own screams the moment he turned away. The shepherd walked stiff, ears pinned back, body pressed close, still growling low at intervals like he expected the soil to surge through the fence and drag them back. His leash swung loose now, half torn, mud streaking across the soldier's vest. The soldier staggered to a stop halfway down the narrow path. He bent forward, palms pressed to his knees, flashlight beam wobbling over the ground. His stomach churned, bile thick in his throat. He whispered between shallow breaths. "What the hell? What did we dig up?" The shepherd barked once, sharp, his nose darting to the soldier's pack. The soldier frowned. He tugged it off his back, dropped it onto the gravel. The zipper was smeared with dirt, the fabric soaked and heavy. He hesitated, hands trembling, then pulled it open. The smell of damp earth spilled out. Inside, those same relics. The locket, chain twisted. The ribbon, frayed and caked with mud. The gold ring, initials still visible. The cracked glasses, smeared with soil. The torn fragments of letters. They sat in the beam like they'd never been moved. The soldier's throat tightened. His hand reached instinctively for the locket, pulling it into the light. The photograph inside caught the glow again, the young woman, calm smile, the little boy's gap-toothed grin. And then the voice. Not from the yard. From the pack. "That's mine." The soldier froze, locket trembling in his hands. His chest locked, lungs seizing. He staggered a step back, nearly tripping. His whisper cracked. "No, no, I took it, it's in my hands." The shepherd barked savagely, teeth snapping at the pack, claws shredding at the dirt-stained fabric. His growl rose higher, frantic, desperate, as if the objects themselves were alive. The soldier dropped the locket back inside. The whisper didn't stop. "That's mine, give it back." The words pressed against his skull, thick and heavy, like hands dragging through his thoughts. He ripped the ribbon out next, holding it up to the beam. Its strands shook in his grip, soil falling like dust. He pictured it tied in the girl's hair from the photograph. The voice cut sharper. "Mine." The soldier's hand shook so violently he shoved the ribbon back into the pack, chest heaving. His whisper broke, frantic. "Why me? Why now?" No answer. Only the dog's fury. The shepherd lunged, jaws snapping on the strap of the pack. He tugged it hard, shaking his head, growling, as though trying to tear it from his master's grasp. The soldier yanked it back. "No! I can't leave them." His own voice cracked with something he didn't recognize, fear, but also guilt. The shepherd barked, whined, barked again, body slamming into his master's knees to push him backward down the path. His tail was rigid, his eyes locked on the pack like it carried a curse. The soldier looked again at the ring, glinting faintly under the light. The initials etched deep, LM. His breath hitched. His voice fell to a whisper. "Who are you?" The whisper came sharper, colder, right against his ear. "Mine." He staggered, flashlight beam jerking. His chest felt tight, his heart beat too loud. For a moment, he swore the initials on the ring shifted, reshaping into his own. He dropped it, heart slamming. The ring clinked against the gravel before vanishing back into the pack. The shepherd howled suddenly, pulling him hard, forcing him further from the yard. His paws skidded against the gravel, claws sparking, every muscle desperate to get his master away. The soldier stumbled, dragged half by instinct, half by the dog's will. He shoved the pack shut, slung it across his shoulder again, but it felt heavier than before. Not weight of soil, not weight of metal, weight of something else. Something claimed. Every step echoed with the whisper. "That's mine. That's mine. That's mine." The soldier pressed a hand against the pack as though to keep it from bursting. His jaw clenched, his voice cracked low. "It's not yours anymore. It's mine now." But even as he said it, he knew he was wrong. The shepherd barked once more, savage and sharp, yanking him forward. And behind them, through the still air, faint and cold, the whisper chased after every step. "We'll take it back. The pack thudded heavy against the soldier's back as he staggered down the gravel path. It no longer felt like canvas and dirt, every object inside pressed against him like living weight, warm and suffocating. His chest burned, his heart racing not just from fear but from the steady rhythm of the words digging into his skull. Mine, mine, mine. He squeezed his eyes shut, forcing his boots forward. Shut up, he whispered, voice hoarse. You're not here. You're gone. The shepherd barked sharply, lunging against the leash to keep him moving. His growl rolled like thunder, low and constant, eyes locked on the pack, nose twitching as if he could smell the voices bleeding out of the seams. The soldier stumbled to a stop under a tree that loomed over the path. He yanked the pack off, chest heaving. His fingers shook as he pulled it open again, spilling the contents into the dirt. The locket fell first, snapping open with a metallic click. The ribbon fluttered out, streaked with mud, strands clinging to gravel. The cracked glasses skidded across the ground. The ring spun once, twice, then settled face up. The torn letter fragments spread like wilted leaves. The flashlight beam caught them all, bright against the dark. The soldier knelt, fists pressed to his head. His voice cracked raw. Stop it. They're just things. Just things. But the whispers didn't fade. This time they didn't come from the ground. They came from inside. His own thoughts. His own breath. His own heartbeat. That's mine. Why did you take it? Give it back. The soldier gasped, clutching his chest, as though the words pressed from his ribs outward. His vision swam. He blinked hard, and for a second, just 1 second, he swore the boy in the locket smiled wider, eyes locking onto his. "No," he shouted, hurling the locket into the darkness. It clinked against the stones, landing yards away. The shepherd erupted, barking violently, racing after it. His jaws snapped on the chain, dragging it back, tossing it at his master's feet. The soldier froze. His eyes widened, throat dry. The dog had brought it back. The whisper hissed sharper, triumphant. Mine. The soldier stumbled backward, hands raised as though the objects could strike him. Why me? Why me? The shepherd barked, frantic, lunging at the items scattered in the dirt. He snapped at the ribbon, tearing it apart between his teeth until strands flew like ash. He ground the glasses under his paws, lenses shattering. He chewed the torn letter, shredding it into pulp. But the whispers didn't stop. If anything, they grew louder. Break it, burn it, hide it, you can't take it, it's mine, it's ours. The soldier's breath came ragged. His voice broke. Get out of my head. He clutched the ring, the initials glinting under the beam. For a moment, they didn't read LM anymore. For a moment, they looked like his own initials. His hand shook violently. His chest seized. The shepherd lunged, teeth clamping onto his wrist, dragging his hand down. The ring slipped from his fingers, spinning into the dirt. The dog's growl roared in his ears as though shouting on his behalf. The soldier collapsed onto his knees, staring at the scattered relics. They looked ordinary again. Muddy, broken, useless. But the voices didn't stop. They were inside now. You dug it up, you touched it, you carry it, you keep it. His whisper cracked, weak. I didn't want it. The shepherd pressed his body against his master's chest, growl constant, head jerking to push him backward, away from the scattered things. His eyes were wide, wild, but steady, refusing to let him fall further. The soldier pressed his forehead into the dog's fur, shaking. His whisper broke. Don't let them take me, boy. Don't let them in. The shepherd barked once, sharp and defiant, his body rigid as stone. The voices fell to a hiss, circling the air. He can't stop us. You already belong. The soldier clutched the dog tighter, eyes shut. But deep down, in his gut, he knew. The fight wasn't against the yard anymore. It was inside him. The soldier's hands pressed into the shepherd's fur, knuckles white, chest heaving like he'd just run through fire. The flashlight beam quivered across the dirt, catching the relics scattered in the path, the locket glinting faint, the ribbon twitching in the breeze, the broken glasses jagged like teeth. The voices hissed and swirled, no longer faint, no longer hidden. They filled the air, layered, choking. You touched us. You opened it. You carry what's mine. The soldier squeezed his eyes shut, shaking his head. No. They're just things. They're nothing. But deep in his chest, in his ribs, he felt it, a weight that wasn't his. Like the voices weren't around him anymore. They were inside. The shepherd barked savagely, jerking at the leash, then lunged at the pack. His jaws clamped onto the strap, tugging with violent force. The soldier resisted, clutching it against his chest, as though if he let go, he'd lose more than objects. The voices sharpened, louder, cutting into his mind. Don't fight it, you already belong. The soldier gasped, eyes snapping open. For a split second, the locket in the dirt flickered in the beam, and he swore he saw the boy's eyes blink. He staggered backward, boots crunching gravel. The shepherd lunged again, teeth sinking deeper into the strap. His growl tore through the night, desperate, primal, more plea than command. The soldier whispered through gritted teeth. Stop it, boy. It's mine. But the words stuck in his throat. Mine. The whispers echoed back, mocking, triumphant. Mine, mine, mine. The shepherd snarled, yanking harder, dragging his master toward the scattered relics. But the pull wasn't away, it was toward. The soldier's knees buckled, his chest heaving, as though the earth itself had a hand inside his spine, dragging him closer to the dirt. The locket gleamed. The ribbon fluttered. The ring caught the light. And all of them whispered at once. Come back to us. The soldier dropped to his knees, palms hitting the gravel. His breath tore raw, his mind spinning. He reached out, fingers trembling toward the locket. The shepherd lunged, teeth snapping around his wrist. He growled, shook violently, dragging his hand back with feral strength. The soldier cried out in pain, collapsing sideways, clutching his arm. The dog barked, high and frantic, circling, then leapt onto his chest, pinning him down. His teeth bared inches from his master's face, his growl vibrating deep into his ribs. The soldier stared up, eyes wide, heart slamming. For a moment, he thought the dog would bite him. For a moment, he welcomed it, anything to silence the voices. But the shepherd didn't strike. He pressed harder, his body a barrier, his growl a wall between the soldier and the dirt. The voices rose higher, overlapping, distorted. He can't stop us. You're ours now. Choose. The soldier screamed, clutching his head, thrashing under the dog's weight. His whisper cracked into the night. I never wanted this. The relics shimmered in the beam, dirt trembling around them. The soil itself shifted, small clumps rolling like the ground breathed. The shepherd barked again, wild, desperate. He lunged off his master, teeth snapping the locket chain, hurling it into the darkness with a violent shake. He tore the ribbon apart again, shredding it into nothing. He ground the glasses deeper into gravel until they splintered. But the whispers didn't fade. They screamed louder. Mine. Ours. You took it. The soldier pressed his palms into the ground, trying to push himself up, but his arms shook violently, like the soil itself held him down. His breath came ragged, vision spinning. His whisper cracked. Boy, don't let me go. The shepherd lunged back, grabbed his sleeve, and pulled with everything he had. The soldier slid across the gravel, body scraping, heart pounding. His boots kicked against the dirt. His eyes locked one last time on the ring glinting in the beam. For a heartbeat, he swore it rolled toward him, pulled by something unseen. The voices shrieked in unison, shaking the air. "Choose." The soldier clamped his eyes shut, his body dragged forward by the dog. His chest tore with one last whisper, raw and broken. "I don't want it." The shepherd barked once, savage, defiant, pulling him into the darkness beyond the yard's reach. And then, silence. The soldier's boots scraped against the gravel as the shepherd dragged him, inch by inch, away from the yard. His chest burned, lungs raw, every breath tearing like glass through his throat. Behind them, the dirt still shifted faintly, relics half buried, half exposed under the crooked beam of his fallen flashlight. The voices clawed at his skull, but weaker now, thinner, like they were bound to the soil and could only stretch so far. "Come back. Give it back." The soldier forced his legs to work, stumbling forward, one hand gripping the shepherd's collar. The dog's body pressed against him with relentless strength, ears pinned back, growl steady, guiding him like a lifeline. The gate groaned as they reached it. He shoved it open with trembling hands, its rusted hinge shrieking into the night. For one breath, he hesitated. His eyes flicked back over his shoulder. The yard lay still. The shed leaned crooked in the shadows. The fence slumped like it was rotting from the inside. And the soil mound, fresh, damp, looked untouched again, as though no chest, no bones, no relics had ever been there. His throat tightened. His whisper cracked. "It looks the same." The shepherd barked once, sharp and angry, snapping him out of it. He stumbled through the gate, dragging the leash, slamming it shut behind him. The clang echoed down the path like a gunshot. The air beyond was different. Lighter. The whispers dulled, fading into faint static. For the first time all night, the soldier drew a full breath. He collapsed against the tree at the edge of the path, sliding down the bark until he sat in the dirt. His hands shook as he tore the pack off his back and hurled it into the grass. It landed with a heavy thud. The shepherd stood over it, teeth bared, tail rigid, as though daring it to move. The soldier's eyes locked on the zipper. His chest heaved. He whispered, "Broken. They're still in there." His mind replayed the relics, locket, ribbon, ring, glasses, letters, every object claimed by the voices. They weren't his. They were never his. And yet they sat inside his pack, heavy and alive. The shepherd barked again, sharp, then stepped on the pack, claws digging into the fabric, growl low and steady. The soldier pressed his forehead into his knees. His voice cracked through the silence. "What do I do, boy? If I keep them, they'll eat me alive. If I throw them back, they'll drag me under." The dog didn't move. He only growled deeper. The soldier's breath slowed. He forced himself to lift his head, eyes raw. The night was quiet again, the crickets returning, the air cooling against his skin. For a moment, it almost felt normal. Almost. Until the whisper returned. Soft. Thin. Right against his ear. "It's still mine." The soldier froze, eyes wide. He snapped his head around. Nothing. Empty path, empty trees. The shepherd snarled violently, teeth flashing at the air. His body pressed against his master's chest, protective, rigid, unyielding. The soldier clutched his fur, whisper tearing raw. "I heard it." The whisper slid again, faint but clear. "You can't take it, it's still mine." His hands shook. His breath tore. He grabbed the pack, shoved it against the dog's chest, as if to shield himself. "Take it. You want it? Take it back." But the soil didn't move. The air didn't shift. The yard stayed still. The shepherd barked furiously, one final defiant sound that ripped through the night. Then he turned, jerking the leash, forcing his master down the path. The soldier staggered after him, eyes fixed ahead, refusing to look back again. His boots crunched the gravel, every step carrying him further from the yard. But the pack was still heavy on his back. The relic still sat inside. And the whisper stayed. "It's still mine."